Oh, fuck. I'm in aluminum.
I'm in Amsterdam, which is without a doubt the cannabis capital of the world.
Is that right?
Feet hurting, world full of busy bees working. I ain't never met a free person. I don't get along with these earthlings. I'm trying to seek purpose, fight for something I believe's worth it. Feel the curse, I'ma reverse it. I don't dream cause I sleep nervous. No, yet I keep flirting. Face death like a Steve Irwin. Whole heat, I'm a drink thermos. Tell the bartender keep serving. I'm trying to be perfect, using dirty shit to clean dirt with. Only happy when the weed burning. Traded oxygen to breathe herpes. Smoke till I see curtains. Lungs fail and they cease working. Air is something that I need urgent. Suffocating, trying to squeeze words in. What would I do with my last breath? Would I yell? Would I cry? Would I laugh? Cause I'm glad that I'm past that mess. Till I pass, never felt that blessed. Even bad breath when you living is better than good breath. When you lack flesh, got a glass chest that I cracked and my lost breath hasn't made it back yet. I'm on my last breath, walking the last step. I'm on the last test. Final answer and my last guess. Wonder what I gotta pass next. I'm on my last quest. So much harder than my last track. Mad bless. Hope I can outlast death. Grim Reaper got my address. Down on my last cent. Cash spent from a check I don't even have yet from my last rent. Sweater shit has got me mad stressed. I inherited my dad's debt. Never got to hear his last breath. And the only reason I ain't passed yet. I'm the first ever and the last left.
I let the record show. I let the tech explode. Put up the weapon show. Pull up the Texaco. Knuckles in Mexico. Call up the technical. They know the text will blow. Shot that on Plexico. Turn you to vegetable. Body electrical. Acid and alkaline. Body so flexible. The shooter's feast like a Uber Eats. Got a group of these scooter bees. While letting the Uzi Aruga speak. An American got up in Cuba eats. The powers they seek and powers the weak. They follow in creeps. Powers that be. Inherit the world from cowards and sheep. Been to the mountains, top towers and peaks. Flowers and sweets and showered our feet. The lightning and tether, the shower the sleep. Shower the D's. This not a verse, this our receipts.
What would I do with my last breath? Would I yell? Would I cry? Would I laugh? Cause I'm glad that I'm past that mess. Till I pass, never felt that blessed. Even bad breath when you living is better than good breath. When you lack flesh, got a glass chest that I cracked.
All right. We're gonna close out with Blue Pill's verse, but you know we got to get into the show tonight. I'm not gonna be able to be here all night. I have a studio session. You know, been working on this album, Scorpion King 2020. You know, it's been coming along very nicely, and yeah, I'm excited to get to the studio to continue the work that I started. You know, shout out to everybody that's working with me on the project. and ensuring that it's going to be another classic. You know, that's important. You know what I mean? To top what I delivered in 2016. But let's get into the roll call. Oh yeah. You already know the camera is new. Yeah, we're in Jupiter. We're in Saturn and Pluto expansion. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, shit done changed. Shit done upgraded when we lined up with these planets now. Talk black to me. You know, we the change that we've been looking for. So, you know, yeah, things done changed. We got a whole new setup. But it's what we were talking about. It's what I was talking about before the new year started. I was saying that coming into 2020, we're going to have a new look. We're going to clean up. You know, I'm going to go get a shape up. You know, we're going to clean things up because we're going global. We're expanding, you know, we're expanding beyond our imagination, you know, to numbers that we can't even count. So, you know, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. So you got to go H4K on these niggas. You know what I'm talking about? You got to have the ticker tape parade on the bottom of the screen and, You know, you just got to clean up a little bit. I think every episode you're gonna see an improvement. We're gonna take this into a studio. I don't even want to talk about what we're gonna do, but it's just gonna be different levels. You know, y'all deserve this. Y'all deserve this cloth to have rhinestones on it. Y'all deserve, you know what I'm talking about? Y'all deserve this cloth in HD. You know, I figured I'd give you the cloth in HD. You know what I'm talking about? It hit differently when it's clean, you know, when we coordinate, you know. So that's what it is. Yeah, that Garvey cloth is, yeah, everything is upgrading, y'all. You know, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah, everything is upgrading. You know what I'm saying? Everything is leveling up. That's what 2020 is. You know, Ross Ben said, according to the reading that he did of the chart, there's no blocks. You know what I mean? Imagine playing the NFL playoffs and nobody's blocking you. You could score like homie did. What team was that? Where he scored all of them touchdowns in one quarter. You know what I'm talking about? That's the energy of 2020. You're gonna see people breaking a lot of records, because if you got to come back from 0 down by 21 or whatnot, well, goddamn it, that's what you finna do. You know what I mean? That's what you're gonna do, and that's what we're seeing this year. Tonight's episode is special. Tonight's episode, we're gonna be getting into some astrologics. Tonight's episode, we're gonna touch on some things, and we're gonna line some things up, because Lord have mercy, if the cosmos is not speaking to us in a language that we can all understand, which is action, which is shit is moving. The earth is quaking. You know what I'm talking about? The earth is quaking. The fire is rising. So ever since we had this ring of fire that we talked about on Christmas Day, ever since we experienced that solar eclipse, and then we just went through what we are going to talk about tonight, which is the Saturn Pluto conjunction, life is good. You know what I'm talking about? Life is good. There's some things lining up. And as a result of that alignment, that very day, January 12th, I'm going to point out what was going on around the world, inside of the earth, as above, so below, and above the earth. You understand? Because this is the mythos. This is the story. This is, the cosmological mythology that's playing out in real life. But we're going to point out the astrologics. And then I'm going to have brothers like Blue Pill and our good brother Ra Aku and other people who are very much more professional in this field to give you the information. This is just a primer. You know what I mean? This is just a primer. But one of the things that I realized that we need to become more of, and that's prepared. We need to be more prepared. Why do I say that? Because we had a day pass us, which was on Sunday, yesterday, January 12th. That day was one of the most important days, cosmologically speaking, for 2020. It set the pace for not just the whole year, but for a very large window of time. And the fact that we were not prepared collectively, not individually, not if somebody was hip to it, and they got ready, they were able to make some kind of ritual. They were ready to prepare themselves. They basically was ahead of it. But collectively, we were not ahead of it. We could have had a gathering similar to what Rich had with the Ascension 2020. The follow-up could have been on January 12th, or the part 2 for that matter. I know that brother Billy Carson did something in Florida this weekend and whatnot, but that's what I'm saying. Like, these are opportunities that we cannot miss. You cannot miss these windows, because these windows were showing you that these windows are opening up for our people to climb through. The universe is conspiring for your success. The windows are opening up for those who are prepared to walk through that window. These doors are opening up for those who are preparing themselves and are ready to walk through the door. But if you're not ready, you're not going to walk through the door. And that's understandable. So Flyer Bingy, I like that. So, you know, with this new technology that we have right here, I'm sure I'll be able to share the screen and we'll be a little more interwoven in the build. Well, you know, this build could be a little more effective. You know what I'm saying? So just walk with me and give me a minute. I didn't do roll call. You know, we got to do roll call. We got to know who's in the building. Okay, that's important. So ATL is in the building. All right, shout out to Blue Pill. Blue Pillar is in the ATL right now. So shout out to my brother. Washington by way of New York. Yo, hit us up. Hit me black to talk to me about that legal marijuana market out there for the hemp and the CBD. Greensboro is in the building. I don't know if y'all noticed, but Greensboro was one of the first places I went to down south when I was like 18 years old. And it opened my eyes up to the beauty of the South. Nashville, Tennessee in the building. Highbridge in the building. Shout out to Highbridge. Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio. Memphis in the building. Oklahoma. Greensboro. Charlotte is in the building. Queen City. Yeah. Greenville by way of Ashby Park. Yonkers by way of Jersey City. Miami, Florida. Money is a major issue. Philly in the building. Baltimore in the building. Red House, Morgan State, London in the building. Meet me at the London. The Mecca is in the building. Toronto, T-Dot, Maryland, Bowie, Maryland. Jackson is in the building. Raleigh's in the building. Chicago's in the building. Mount City's in the building. Pasadena's in the building. West Los Angeles is in the building. The Nile, Riverside, California's in the building. Houston, Texas by way of LA. Bowie, Maryland is in the building. London is in the building. Tallahassee's in the building. Miramar, Ohio, but in Hawaii. Detroit is in the building. Hinesville's in the building. Jackson, Michigan is in the building. Biloxi, Mississippi. Cashville, Tennessee. Kansas City in the building. Chi-Town, BX, what's next? Jersey, what's Jersey? Fort Washington, Maryland, North Hollywood. Bless up the UK, Fort Greene, Brooklyn, Arkansas, Motown 313, Massachusetts, North Hollywood, the Mayan ruins across from the Inca Empire, Syracuse, New York, St. Louis, Burnsville, Cincinnati by way of Oregon, Alexandria by way of Kansas City, Pomona, Do or Die, 585, Ecuador in the building, Mount Vernon, 134 for Amsterdam, 323, Central California, North Side, Richmond, Virginia. Shout out to y'all. Fresno. That's right. Everybody that's in Mississippi, that's in the building tonight, y'all should link up. I encourage that. You know, y'all should definitely link up. Send each other some information. Denver, Colorado. San Antonio, Jupiter's in the building. Fresno is in the building. Shout out to my good brother Planet Asia, the legend from Fresno. So shout out to everybody because, you know, it's 200 plus, 250 right now. We can't do shout outs with everyone. So I appreciate all of the family that's in the building. Salute to every single one of y'all. You know, spread the word, share this video, subscribe to this channel. We're going to burn out until we get burnt out. Or we're going to burn out until YouTube burn it out, you know, whatever that means. But we here, We have some things that we'll be rolling out. So you'll never have to worry about whatever YouTube decides that they want to do with themselves. That don't got nothing to do with what we're doing. That doesn't stop anything. YouTube is not the only platform. YouTube is not the only technology. YouTube is not the end all be all. YouTube is the chapter in a book. And to be honest with you, if it closes, it will be for the better. It will produce quality. It will improve upon, and it will elevate and upgrade what it is that not just me, but many people are out here doing, because we're innovators. So we're going to tweak this shit. We're going to hack it and find a way to make it work for us, regardless. You know what I'm saying? If you don't believe me, then watch. So, don't cry for me, Argentina. Just leave me your email when I ask for it. Hit me on my DMs if we, lose contact. Or, when you hear that we pulling up to your city, because according to the roll call, the whole world is in here. So whenever you hear us pulling up to your city, then, hop out of the Uber copter or pull up in the Lyft, you know what I'm saying? And come and holler and spend some guala with your peoples. You know how holla black, and you know what it do, like this and like that. You dig? So the episode that preceded this, the Melanin Monday, that the volume was messed up, where I was going in and saying a lot of interesting things about fear, right? I was speaking about fear. This was around the time that there was a lot of fear in the air, and I was addressing the fear protocol. I was explaining and unpacking psychological operation behind fear versus power. Now I'm gonna revisit some of the research that I shared, because according to the comment section, the family did not receive the information the way that it was supposed to be received, because there was an issue with the volume. I attribute that to me personally. Henceforth, while we're going through these upgrades, I had my phone hooked up to the Bluetooth, so it gave a poor sound. Now, ultimately, the plan by next week is to have a boom mic that I can attach to the apparatus, this HD camera that I have now. So the audio is going to be super crispy, because the number one thing outside of a crispy picture when it comes to this information is the audio. And I understand that I talk kind of fast, and my vernacular, or rather my dialect, although it may seem like it's the standard shit that you see on TV, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's the universal remote, but for some people they might not understand the lingo based off of where they're at, like in Boise, Idaho, you know what I'm saying? Or or Nebraska. So I'm put the captions on if there's a problem, if there's an audio issue, put the captions on. But it's going to be very rare, because from this point on, like I promised, going into 2020, content is going to be of a high quality. We're preparing ourselves for Tyler Perry's studio. Pause. The big screen, big cameras. I'm talking about big drip, shit like that. So you got to start from somewhere. But, for everybody to be scared to start, you have to start from somewhere. So if you don't have no measurement to look back and be like, oh, my shit sucked, look at the quality. What was I doing? What was I thinking of? You got to have something to go back and look at so you can measure your growth. If there's no example, or if there's no moral of my story, or if there's no example that me and my brother set, it's that the slow pace wins the race. You know what I'm saying? Slow pace wins the race, because people think I be speeding, but I'm really running at a slow pace. I get frustrated that I can't sprint sometimes, but it's really a slow race. You know, slow pace wins the race. You don't got to be in a super rush to do everything that everybody else or whatever you think somebody else is doing. You just do what you do. Me talking into my phone, I think that the message got across. People weren't concerned with the visuals if it was in 1080 DPI. You know what I'm talking about? If they could see my freckles and whatnot, because that's not part of the information. Although, according to research and the metrics and whatnot, it does play a part in the information in these day and times that we live in, where visuals are a heavy component because content is king. You know, content is king. So your visuals are your standards. That's why I'm turning in. I'm going for the iPhone 11. My shit has to have 3 cameras on the back of it. Everything is top notch at this point. You know, you got to pay to play. I want to get the Mac that's like 50 racks because when I read up on the specs of what it can do, it can accomplish my $50 million dream to get me to my billies. It can accomplish that. It could right there, just one machine. People be having all of these conversations about artificial intelligence and how spooky it might sound, not realizing that when your great grandparents witnessed what a cotton mill machine could do, or when they witnessed what Henry Ford and them were creating with the automobile and stuff like that, or when they witnessed anything in the Industrial Revolution, they were attributing that to be a form of AI. At that time, it was machines that will work for you. They get you the cream and clean up the dirt for you. It was automation. The assembly line, the automated assembly line is automation. So automation is being repackaged in a fear bag, right? Going back to what we talk about, fear in a sense to control you, to make you afraid of it, to make you not want to embrace it, to make you not want to learn it. The fear of it is like, oh, y'all saw the movie Terminator, or you saw the Boston Dynamic commercials with a dog, or you saw the episode on Black Mirror where the androids or the quote unquote AI dogs were like murdering people. So yeah, stay away from that stuff. That's not gonna do you any good. You know, oh yeah, you're gonna lose your job to automation. But what they're not saying is, yeah, fuck that. You need to learn automation so you can create jobs. So you'll never have to worry about losing anything. You're gonna gain something because you are going to be one of the many engineers and programmers who are going to put something automated into traffic, and that shit's gonna cook for you. It's gonna work for you. It's gonna get you money while you're sleeping. The same way that bots work for people these days. The same way that VAs, virtual assistants, the bots that you could program to basically post your stories on Twitter and Instagram, even the tube and whatnot, while you're asleep, while you're on your 9 to 5, while you're on your gig, while you're working. You can have a bot upload a picture, a video of you for only your fans, and come home to a bag. How about that? And look, they got sisters on OnlyFans drinking tea, patchouli oils, putting on patchouli oils, drinking Earl Grey tea, right? Doing some mudras and whatnot, and painting bindis on each other. And they got a lot of coconut oil on, but they're not being overtly sexual. They're just being sensual. And they got OnlyFans pages, and they're eating off of that. Then they have the super duper raunchy. It's like walking through the museum of sex, or or a zoo on Venus. You know what I'm saying? Different areas, it's just turned up a little bit. You know, when you go and see the polar bears, the energy is different from when you go ahead and you go into the when you go and see the lions and shit. You know? So you would fare better and I've always said this, and I'm going to continue to say it, that not more, you know, if you decided that, yo, I'm 66, it's over for me, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know how to program the remote. I don't understand nothing technological. Well, don't sabotage your young ones, you know. They ready for the smoke, you know what I mean? They with the shits. They want to program some things. They want to learn some things. One of the most revolutionary things that you can acquire for them, that you can afford, is a 3D printer. You know, a 3D printer is revolutionary in the developmental minds of a teenager in these days and times, because the fact that they can think of something, the fact that they could conceptualize, they could scribble something and doodle it out, right, on a sketch pad. Look, I'm back in the lab. I got my sketch pad. You know what I'm saying? I'm back to drawing and whatnot. You know? So they could take art, right? They could take art. They could doodle it. They could come up with characters. The same characters that they're watching on Netflix. The same characters that they're watching on Nickelodeon. The same characters that they're watching on all of these channels that we put them in front of, right? These same channels, the same thing. They could go ahead and create a Merkaba. Remember, we got crystals, we have indigos, we gave birth to star seeds. So they could come up with anything that's in their mind. Then they can scan the picture, right? They could take the same little picture that they drew, or if they draw it on a tablet, they could send that same picture to a 3D printer machine and press print. And the 3D printer machine is so advanced in 2020 that it could print molten metal up to it could print all the way up to like the hardest metal known to man. That's how far advanced 3D printers have become. Do you know the same little toys that they sell at Japanese toys for hundreds of dollars at like the Babster store? You could be selling a variation of that in your art, in your artistic circles, or in your networks, and you could create toys with the 3D printer. What are you talking? Your children could be in the crib making toys. They don't even gotta. What do you mean? They could be really just making toys all day, like a whole toy store. You could get a community center, right, in the hood. Let's say that some of y'all run into a bag. Let's say that some of y'all have 800 credit. You know what I'm talking about? Let's say some of y'all run into a Russian person with great credit who wants to swipe mad machines for you, right? He's doing it for Mother Russia, right? In the name of he's doing it for Putin, right? And he just swipes mad. He might swipe 30. The same way that you could swipe 30 iPhones, you could swipe 30 3D printer machines and put it in a community center, or put it in a you know, put it like in an auditorium where they have after school centers, or where children come to create and to be great, right? And then you could create a situation in no amount of time where you create a toy store where project niggas, children, little Ray and them, right? Crack babies is in this spot turning shit out, being the magical people that they are. And you want to talk about that? You know, we gotta have an episode about the magic of the crack babies, the magical world of crack babies. You know what I mean? The new fairies, the new toi. You know, they hop through dimensions and shit like that. You know, these are like X-Men that we have that are being born. And I'm telling you, that will create a movement, right, of creatives. Young children will identify those amongst them that are the quote unquote the equivalent to an Aaron Gruder who created Boondocks, a Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, who created Marvel Comics out of their minds. Like, the opportunity to do that is like, there's a brother by the name of Neo Davis. I signed up for a seminar of his, and he teaches individuals such as myself, young entrepreneurs who are, eagerly looking to expand and to open up multiple income streams by being the owners of rental properties. What rental properties are basically brick and mortar, right? Meaning storefronts, brick and mortar properties that you can rent out for baby showers, for birthday parties, for book signings, right? For rap battles, for rap videos, for podcasts, for meetups, meetup.com, for speed dating, right? For comedy shows, for art gallery showings. I could go on for days. So the brother Neo Davis, I see a plethora of melanated young people who are getting their own keys to event places all around America. I mean, it's a weekly thing. I see at least 3 people every week who's coming from his program. Neo Davis, I might have him on Know the Ledge. We should be getting him on Know the Ledge this cycle, this year. I might put the word out to get the brother. Yeah, I want an event space. I want about 5 event spaces. That's on my 2020 vision board. I need 5 event spaces in 5 major states. Atlanta and New York definitely being 2 of the 5. That in Miami. This is something that's mandatory. This is for the advancement of humans. This is for the advancement of this movement, not just the advancement of Red Pill, not just the advancement of the brand, Know the Ledge, not just the advancements of Red, Blue, Mama Pill, KT, my children, and other affiliates, my close circle, my ring of power, not just them, but the community. You know what I'm talking about? But the community, whoever belongs to this community, first and foremost, and even outside of the community, because if you have a commercial real estate, you're not biased. You can't practice biasness, because that's the same thing that they got niggas, they be hitting me on my WhatsApp to come and protest because people feeling biased against. So you can't be biased and be like, nah, I can't accept, if you own a property, you could do what you want, theoretically. I'm talking about? The same way that they do what they want. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? That's a must. That's a must. I'm gonna do it the grown man way, and I'm gonna take the brother's classes, and I'm gonna dig in, and I'm gonna put myself to the test, because I feel that that's something that's in my destiny. My last name is Moreland, so it's time to start really focusing on my last name. I spent 10 years focusing on my first name, Philip, which is Red Pill. We explained this. PHI is Phi, which is fire. Phi, philosophy, philanthropy. But it's also Phi, fire, and LLIP is backwards for PILL. So I'm living out my purpose. My name, inside of my name, hidden in plain sight, is my instructions. My name is inside of my name. But now my last name, Moreland, Moreland, I'm gonna begin to live out for that. This is what 2020 represents and beyond. The estate, the Moreland estate. You know what I'm talking about? The Moreland estate. Yeah, land banks everywhere giving away land literally for $50 to $500, no cap. Well, Alante Capital, please contact me. You see my information is on the ticker tape parade. Cash App Phil Moreland. That's for the believers. You know what I'm talking about? That's for the investors. That's for the people that believe in the God, you know, and they want to invest in us. There's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate every single one of y'all because I'm invested in you. But where's the other ticker with my address? Let me fix this. Give me 1 minute, y'all. Yeah, there go my banner right there. So hit me up. That's my Instagram and that's my Twitter. That's the best places to get into contact with me personally, Red Pill. You know, you want to get in touch with me personally, not other people that you see me in pictures with. You know what I'm saying? Not the people that Instagram told you is my best friends. None of that. Hit me up if you want to get in touch with me about some stuff that you were talking about in a chat room. And let's build, because these land banks, I'm building with a brother in Detroit about working these land banks and whatnot. And yeah, we could definitely put property on our resumes, all of us. God damn it. Not all of us, you know, literally, but a humongous majority of us. Because I'm not talking to no poo butts. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't talking to no vagabonds. I'm fully aware that it's quality of membership over here. And I'm fully aware that at this point in day and time, that there are a lot of mature, responsible individuals who create their opportunities. They understand that they are the masters of their destiny, and whatever they want to get, they just get at it. And, you know, they'll make it happen because man makes the money and money don't make the man. And if I see it, I can be it. You know, I'm sure at this point, a lot of us have that mentality and we go getters. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of go getters around. So I respect each and every single one of y'all. That's my source of inspiration. You know what I'm talking about? I can't do this whole thing by myself. It's not that easy. I make it look easy, but it's not that easy. You know? Let's get into the Saturn thing though, because I'm, you know, like I said, we got some things that we're gonna get to. Let's break down what's going on, y'all. All right. Tell me in the chat room. I need y'all to tell me in the chat room. If y'all hold on. Okay. Yeah. I see the screen. All right. So boom. This is how we're gonna do it. Okay. Yesterday, Sunday, was a very powerful conjunction. Okay. You might not have realized it. You might not have any idea what was going on, but that don't stop the fact that it was going on, right? And that it happened. So let's read the basic breakdown, and then we're going to get into a little darker breakdown of Saturn and Pluto. Shout out to Mr. Pluto himself, Future, and Drake, who, you know, I'm sure is not a coinkadinky, but they went ahead and dropped a single that basically went viral. But your boy Future is Mr. Pluto. Okay, he has an album called Pluto. And I believe he's a Scorpion, but he might be like a Scorpion right on the conjuncture of a Sag. but his music is super Scorpio, super Pluto. You know what I mean? He keeps it super Pluto. So, and Drake is the Scorpion. Okay, so Drake is Pluto, Drake is the Scorpion as well. So them two coming together, the 2 and the 2, right? 2020, Rise Been 20 is about the binary. It's dealing with binary. It's dealing with the 2. You know what I'm talking about? It's dealing with the 2, with duality. You understand? A lot of duality. You're going to see a lot of things. You're going to have joy and pain. You know, you're going to see contradictions take place. Okay? This is the year of great conjunctions, 2020. You're going to see it's going to be an emphasis on a lot of polarities and dualities, both and, either or, binary, quantum, antagonistic, reunification, separation. You know, 2 is also an action verb. 2 also resonates. You have today, you have tomorrow. Okay. So that 2 big, man. That 2 big. So what this conjunction represents, y'all, Saturn Pluto conjunction. This is a beginning of a whole chapter. Think about a book. Think about a book that you're reading, and you have cliffhangers. You have these interesting chapters that are like cliffhanger chapters. There's a bunch of suspense and all kind of craziness, and then a chapter closes. And then you go to a new chapter and it begins with a new day. And it's on a whole new energy and it's a whole new adventure. Well, that's basically what this right here is. These things have happened in time before, but this is its time now, because that's how history, or that's how time as we know it is basically somewhat playing out in the form of cycles that repeat itself throughout different alignments and throughout different conjunctions and throughout different periods, throughout different processions of the equinox. You would see, if you were one to study time, if you were to study time and timelines and break it down, Facebook made it easy for us with this memory, this reminding thing that it's showing you the magic, it's showing you the power of the cycle, it's showing you the truth of the cycle by breaking down your life into timelines. 1 year ago, you was wearing the same shit you was wearing today. You didn't know that. You didn't plan that. 1 year ago, you was hanging out with the same thought that you hanging out with last night. You didn't know that. You didn't plan that. 1 year ago, you know, you was doing the same thing. You was teaching the same class that you're teaching either today or tomorrow. How coincidental is that? 3 years ago, you was on Facebook or on Instagram speaking about something that has so much relevance 3 years later to this day, to the day. You know, that's basically cutting through the noise. What Facebook is doing with that feature and whatnot is they're allowing you to cut through the everyday noise of 1 million distractions before you can actually get to certain kind of metrics, or before you can actually get to certain kind of truths, and before you can actually get to certain kind of science that occurs in our everyday life that we could begin to gauge and we could begin to actually measure to see the quote unquote the influence of intelligence or the influence of something greater than us in our everyday lives, the synchronicity of quote unquote God intelligence. So look, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction will perfect at 23 degrees of Capricorn on January 12th, 2020. When Saturn and Pluto meet, their proximity consolates a period of intensified tension, constraint, and division in collective events. While societal structures decay and break down, there's room to begin building new forms and foundational elements in their place. Yet, if we wish to endure the test of Saturn and Pluto, we must descend within to explore our inner shadow and unconscious complexes rather than overly focusing on external achievement. In combination, Saturn and Pluto bring the gravity of graveyards and the necessary confrontations with cultural and personal issues we can no longer deny or resist. Pluto amplifies the contraction of Saturn, separating the essential form from the non-essential in the face of obstruction, honoring our awareness of whatever we wish to determinately develop with the time and space available to us. Okay? Now let's get into this here, which is dark star astrology. Okay? All right? It goes Baphomet. That's Capricorn. Y'all with me? Y'all all right? Hold on, let me go and see what's going on. I'm a maniac. Let's look. Oh, is it blurry? Okay, hold on. Well done, my friend. Let's see if we could change that. The blurriness. I don't know why it is blurry. I don't know why it is blurry. All right, let me play some of this. Being it is blurry.
Pluto as collective CP.
Let the lady talk to you. Let Becky talk.
So she said that Saturn Pluto people often feel persecuted, even if there's no obvious reason for such feelings. One manifestation of this combination is of the individual who identifies with people who have been ostracized from society for some reason, or who have suffered a cruel fate, perhaps persecution of their race, their color, their sexual orientation, their religion, or some taboo in their life which society shuns. There is often an identification with what the individual sees as the group's suffering. So it's definitely an identification with the victim and also the underdog as well. It seems that everyone these days are competing to be the most oppressed group. With this comes a sense of entitlement for reparations from those they perceive to be the cause of their victimhood. And this is not the most empowering position, is it really? So Saturn conjunct Pluto, is it fear of power? But it also shows us just how fragile and vulnerable the so-called elite really are. Everything is upside down, where the most oppressed are actually holding the reins of power. And when I looked at some of the natives with this aspect in their natal chart, I could clearly see the feelings of victimization in some of the activists in the list below. While we also have Queen Victoria, who must be the quintessential icon of the British Empire and colonialism, slavery was actually abolished. Yet 500 years ago, with this conjunction in Capricorn, the African slave trade actually started. So this aspect can be both about putting someone in chains, Saturn, but also unchaining them. Saturn rules boundaries, so by the same token, this aspect can make for very strong personal and national boundaries, but also the demolition of these defenses too. So let's look at the time when it was last in conjunction, which was in 1982 to 83. Now, this was actually in Libra, but I think we can see some of the themes even in Libra. So it is a cardinal sign too. Saturn conjunct Pluto is very much the nuclear missile of combinations, the fear of extinction that came with the invention of said device.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to play it in a minute. But look, what she's saying, because you might not understand the language or some of the lexicon that she's using, but she's saying that Saturn and Pluto conjuncted in Capricorn in 1982 to 1983. So for everyone who wants to compare cycles, I'm sure that there's a lot of people in the audience that was not alive in 82 and 83, but there's also a large demographics who could remember vividly the goings-ons, the energy, the feeling, what was going on in the news, the influence of the time. So with this conjunction, we're entering into a day and time, a procession that's going to be similar in its results with the times that we can remember in 82 and 83. So listen to her as she breaks down what was going on in 1982 and 83. And when somebody says, oh, there was a time when people were afraid of war, what was the time when they weren't? You know, to bring that up is not really to say much. Oh, they were afraid that World War III was going to start. They was afraid about World War III the day after World War II was over. So they've been strumming people's fears about World War III. It's a trigger like 9/11 is a trigger. It's a trigger like World War II and Hitler is a trigger. So I'm not necessarily speaking about that per se, but you'd be very surprised to see how this procession of the equinox works, because she's going to break down what was going on in those days and times, and you can see what was going on now. Now, I want to share the screen, but it's appearing as if they're blocking it because maybe and just stick with the God. We're just going to stick with the God, and I'm going to read the page, and we're going to figure this out so we could share the screen, because I want you to see what I'm reading. But let's listen to Adele.
We grew up in the 80s with a feeling that we could all be dust in the time that it takes to boil an egg. I don't know if you had this in America, but we had so much about the 4-minute warning in the UK, and cardinal sign too.
So she's saying in 82 and 83, there was a nuclear fear going on about Russia, right? With the nuclear attack, when they had us doing nuclear drills, basically hiding under a desk. I don't know what the hell a desk is going to do to stop a nuclear bomb and whatnot. Like, what is it? Your whole is just going to be 3rd-degree burns on your back? Your chest going to survive? I don't understand how that shit was working, but yeah, we were in the fear bag, the same way that that the society is in that nuclear fear bag right now.
Saturn conjunct Pluto is very much the nuclear missile of combinations. The fear of extinction that came with the invention of said device kept a lot of us who grew up in the 80s with a feeling that we could all be dust in the time that it takes to boil an egg. I don't know if you had this in America, but we had so much about the 4-minute warning in the UK, and I think there was some leaflet from the government that was posted through our letterboxes, and it was called Protect and Survive, and what to do if there was like the 4-minute warning that we were going to be destroyed by Russia, and to hide under our tables. And anyway, and loads of songs as well had that kind of siren theme in it. And there was a song by Ultravox, Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, because they know that they're gonna get killed by the nuclear bomb, so they have this last dance. And anyway, so there was also like, does anyone remember The Day After, the television series, which was very doomful as well?
I remember that.
So, someone who was a teenager at that time, I just remember there was just always a feeling that it was just the end of the world. And similar again with this Extinction Rebellion coming up. And then, of course, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I think that song really, really symbolizes that decade really well. Working for the black gas. I mean, how Saturn Pluto is that? So their song, The Two Tribes, which was 1984, portrayed Ronald Reagan and Konstantin Chernenko in a boxing ring. And the song starts with the air attack warning siren. And it featured snippets of narration by Patrick Allen, recreating his narration from the British Protect and Survive public information films about how to survive a nuclear war. So, I mean, he had that really authoritative voice. You know, it's such an eerie song. Then we also had the AIDS epidemic and the ad campaign, which was Don't Die of Ignorance. I've got links to all these on the actual article if you want to research it further. And that brought home the fatality of this sexually transmitted disease and made us all fearful of having sex without a barrier method, which is Saturn. Even the fashion had us looking like the Walking Dead.
So AIDS is rolled out 82, 83. This is the beginning of the AIDS scare. This is the beginning of AIDS phobia. The whole AIDS thing is being rolled out during this time period. So in 2020, you know, look out. Always have your ears and your eyes open to see if they're going to try to introduce another biogenetic, weapon. You know, because that's exactly what AIDS was.
Dead with the start of goth fashion, and Ultravox's video Vienna portrays, well, the bittersweet apocalyptic vibe. Dancing new romantics frozen in time express the faded decadence of a dying British Empire. But the weird contradiction of living with this background doom and gloom and the Cold War was that we actually partied pretty hard, like time was running out, so we might as well go out with a bang. Prince's song 1999, which was released in 1982 from the album of the same name, sums up the atmosphere well as well. I don't want to paint as a picture like we were all miserable in the 1980s. The mood was actually quite celebratory, like resurrection after death. So do you remember also the Choose Life t-shirts by Catherine Hamnett? And they were launched also in 1983. So Saturn conjunct Pluto brings up the themes of survival, annihilation, abuse, sadomasochism, fear of power, personal or governmental, and self-sabotage. Note that S&M fashion in the shape of studded belts and bondage gear was really quite mainstream in 1982. There is a distrust of authority, but also a fear of taking charge of oneself. And that could explain why Britain currently is so split in two about Brexit and whether it can really become its own sovereign nation once more. Incidentally, the deadline for leaving was supposed to be the 12th of April of 2019, and that fell while Saturn was within orb of Pluto for the very first time. So astrologer Sue Tompkins, who I quoted earlier on, she points out that it's rare that Saturn-Pluto connections actually occur at the point of the worst atrocities.
Okay. Let me see something real quick. I'm going to share the screen because, you know, I'm not going to listen to her all day. You dig? Oh, let's see something. Let me know if y'all see this. Okay. You able to see that? Are you able to see that? Let me know. All right. Let me try to explain it. All right. So these are some of the things that happens just to show you that what we give, what we act like, we blame things on people. Oh, we're victims. Oh, nobody likes us. Oh, everything is hard. Oh, You know, somebody cry for me. Theoretically speaking, what if this is all part of this theater, this cosmic theater? Theoretically speaking, what if this is all part of, you know, the processions of the equinox? It's the way that the shit is, it's the way that the ducks are lined up. So, November 8th, 1982, this is when Saturn conjuncts Pluto in Libra, okay? Reagan is president, Margaret Thatcher is minister. General theme, a global surplus of crude oil causes gasoline prices to collapse. A brief but severe recession begins in the United States. All-time record low temperatures in the Midwest of the USA. Huge blizzard in the Northeast USA. Jonathan Shell's The Fate of the Earth, published in book format in the United States, warns of the dangers of the nuclear arms race. In a Gallup poll, 51% of Americans do not accept homosexuality as normal. The term AIDS was used for the first time to describe acquired immune deficiency syndrome. At this time, it was only seen among gay males. In June 82, a group of cases amongst gay men in Southern California suggested that the case of the immune deficiency was sexual, and the syndrome was initially called gay-related immune deficiency, or GRID. So AIDS was called GRID, gay-related immune deficiency, GRID. Unemployment in the United Kingdom increases and hits 3 million, a post-war record number. The first computer virus affects Apple II computers via floppy disk. Adobe Systems was founded. The Falklands War. Canada gains full political independence from the UK. The first compact discs are introduced in Germany. The first emoticons are posted. The US film E.T. the Extraterrestrial becomes the biggest box office hit of the decade. Saturn conjuncts Pluto events. 82. Sony launches the first consumer compact disc. The Homosexual Offense Order 1982 comes into effect, decriminalizing homosexuality in Northern Ireland for those aged 18 or older. November 2nd, the Thames Barrier is first publicly demonstrated. November 30th, Michael Jackson releases Thriller. December 7th, the first U.S. injection by lethal injection is carried out in Texas. Okay. December 26th, Time Magazine's Man of the Year is given for the first time to a non-human, the computer. So, all right, there you have it, okay? The Saturn conjuncting Pluto. It's a lot of stuff that's going on that could be talked about, all right? Materialism, idol worship, and fixed star lyra, all right? Being a slave to Venus could be an addiction to materialism. We know a lot of people who are slaves to Venus. We know a lot of common day Baphomite, all right? We know a lot of people who are slaves to Venus, slaves to materialism, okay? Heavy Capricorn energy, heavy Baphomet energy during this alignment. This is going to be very heavy in society going throughout this procession, you know. So we're doing all of this because we don't want to be the reactionary bunch, right? So let me show you some things that took place the day of this quote-unquote alignment that I'm reading about to show you how powerful January 12th was on the planet, right? Not something that white people make up, you know, not something that we could blame on, yo, that white people did that. No. This is the earthquake list for the past 24 hours, right? This is volcanodiscovery.com, okay? For anybody that wants to do a little bit of research on the volcanoes, and you want receipts. Oh, did it not go? It didn't go to the page with me. Let me see. It's still stuck on this. This. Hold on. Let me change something out. Give me a minute. Okay. Let me see something, y'all. I have to share it again. All right, here's the list of the earthquakes. Let me see something. Yeah, there we go. This is the list of the earthquakes, right, that have occurred since January 12th. They all started popping up January 12th. The past 24 hours has seen the strongest earthquakes registered in 2020 have all, the top 10 have all come in the past 24 hours. So this is all of the, this is January the 20th, right? The 14th, right? This is even up to date to today, right now, from Tuesday the 14th. Okay? Now, scroll with me. Don't roll with me, scroll with me. We're going to go through all of the earthquakes that are going on. We got them in Chile. We got them in the Philippines. We got them in France. We got it in Indonesia, Argentina, New Zealand. We're going to go through this and then we're going to get back and we're going to talk about what are the ancestors talking about? What do we see going on? Forget what the news is saying. What do we see going on? All right. So this is going into Monday, the 13th of January. China, they say I felt it. When I felt it means that it was, people felt it. So it wasn't no regular degular, right? 3.4, 3.3, 3.6, 3.8, 4.1. This is in Mexico, 3.3, Philippines, right? Puerto Rico, 3.7. This is on Monday. New Zealand, right? Philippines has another one. Philippines again. Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, 3.5. Nicholas, right? Costa Rico, Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico. Look at all of these earthquakes that took place, and ever since this alignment. Look how the earth, as above, so below. Look how the earth is reacting. And there's been earthquake activity going on, you know, for a while now. But look at the magnitudes of the earth as it shakes, right? Now, not only is there earthquakes going off, volcanoes is popping off, right? Three volcanoes went off at the same time on the 12th, right? 3 volcanic eruptions from 3 different countries in 3 days. In just a span of 3 days, 3 volcanic eruptions have occurred in volcanoes found in the Philippines, Japan, and Mexico on Sunday, January the 12th. Tall volcano became active and is feared to have a hazardous explosion eruption. Meanwhile, in Japan, Mount Shintake erupted on January 11th, and Mexico's Popocatépetl on January 9th. Rocks were spewed about 300 meters from the crater, right? Japan's Mount Shintake's alert level was raised to 3. Mexico, the authorities issued a yellow alert. That means the volcano showed signs of elevated unrest. But are the eruptions of the volcanoes connected? According to ACGS, most earthquakes and volcanic eruptions do not happen randomly. Instead, it occurs in specific areas, such as along plate boundaries. One such area is the Circum-Pacific Ring of Fire, where the Pacific plates meet several surrounding plates. There are no reports yet that the eruptions are connected, but all 3 of the recently erupted volcanoes lie within the ring of power, within the ring of fire. Okay? So, symbolically, you know, there's a lot of things going on ever since. Now, they mentioned this ring of fire, right? Well, first of all, Puerto Rico is one of those places that are getting hit with earthquakes. And remember, they're just recovering from the hurricane. So their island is being gripped in fear because one thing you can prepare for them. You can't prepare for an earthquake. You don't know when it's coming. You don't know where it's coming. You don't know how powerful it's going to be. You know, you're basically just sitting and waiting for the elements to begin to react. So, an iconic figure was destroyed, a natural wonder, a rock that was called the Window of the Caribbean collapsed after the 5.8 magnitude struck the island on the 6th. Now, okay. So, and yeah, add that to the billions of animals that that Australia lost, the billions of animals that the Amazon lost, the billions of animals or the millions of animals that the forests in the Congos lost. And what we're witnessing is a global reset. Okay, the Earth is beginning to change, you know, and the same way that we see change or we see, you know, pain during birth or birthing pains, we're seeing that now. There's definitely a cleansing taking place. There's definitely a cleansing taking place. Yes, billions of animals were reported to be killed in the Australia the fires. Koala bears, kangaroos, and exotic species that are native to these forests, these rainforests in Australia, have been decimated. You know. So the rings of fires are the top largest volcanoes. and they're erupting at the same time. Directly after there was an eclipse, right? There was an eclipse in December. I'm going to take you to this page called on Christmas, right? Called the Ring of Fire eclipse. How ironic is that? That on Christmas, there's a solar eclipse, and they're calling it the Ring of Fire, right? And then after this eclipse, you are beginning to see biblical prophecies fulfilled, right? You're beginning to see, and the biblical prophecies that I speak of mostly would involve the rumors of war, of course, between Russia So an annual solar eclipse occurs when a new moon is furthest from the Earth on its ellipse. Why did it do that? Okay. The last solar eclipse of 2019. A so-called Ring of Fire eclipse occurs Thursday, December 26th in the Eastern Hemisphere, right? And remember, there's certain eclipses that Americans can't see. There's certain eclipses that the Japanese and the Chinese can't see, and vice versa. So it's also prophesied that those who physically see eclipses are either going to be bestowed with blessings or curses, depending on what culture is doing the interpretations. A Ring of Fire solar eclipse occurs this Christmas. How to watch online. The last solar eclipse of 2019, a so-called Ring of Fire eclipse, occurs Thursday and should thrill sky watchers lucky enough to see it in the Eastern Hemisphere. But if you don't live in a place where it's visible, don't worry. You can watch it live online today, December 25th, like a cosmic Christmas gift. The December 26th solar eclipse will be an annular solar eclipse in which the moon does not completely cover the sun as it transits across the star's face. From the Earth, where the eclipse is visible, this leaves a brilliant ring of light around the moon in what observers called a ring of fire. Important, be sure to wear proper eye protection like eclipse glasses if you observe the eclipse in person. You'll be able to watch the solar eclipse on space.com, boom. Okay, so these things are taking place. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. It's not time to play victimhood. Saturn and Pluto dealing with issues and not running from them. It's a lot of inner work. We're in hibernation season, meaning that it's winter time. So it's time to fall back, but fall back in the sense of falling inside of yourself or within, to work on self from within, right? And that's a good thing. That's a real good thing because that is progressive, that is very progressive. That's us securing our future the best way that we know how, by dealing with us, because you have no control whatsoever over any other person. I'm showing you right now, even based on the constellations, the way that the universe works. Look, I could go through 100 other instances of when Saturn conjuncts Pluto, what was going on and how that could relate to what's going on in society today or how it affects society today. So the reason why I'm showing you all of this information and I'm backing it up with facts, we got the data, is because, like I said, to be prepared for anything that's going to happen in this year, in this calendar year, that might be crazy. Remember, you're in Saturn and Pluto. That's some heavy shit. That's some dark shit. That's Darth Vader. You know, if you're an investor, you're going to want to invest in a product or a service that's Plutonian, okay? This Saturnian. You're going to want to look for things that are going to be feeding that energy, are going to thrive in that energy and that energy of expansion. If you're an artist, you would want to tap into your Pluto, your inner Pluto. You would want to tap into your inner Saturn because that's the power. That's the prevalent power that's basically running things right now. So those are just the heads up. I'm just giving you some heads up, man. You know, the game is to be sold. Like they, you know what I'm talking about? But that's going to be it for tonight. You know, like I said, I got a studio session, so I got to get myself ready, get my vocal cords in order so I can lay down this heat. You know what I'm saying? So I can lay down this heat. So meditate on that shit. You know what I mean? Meditate on the fact that there was a great a conjunction yesterday, and that you're in a new chapter of some real powerful shit. Yeah, this is some real Scorpion energy. Saturn and Pluto, nigga, that's a Scorpion rest haven. Like, it's lit. It's lit. You know, it's lit. So get in your creative bag. You know, Scorpion is creative energy. You have to find a way to transmute that crazy ass energy, this scorpionic. You can't destroy yourself. So you have to find somewhere to put that energy into, because the energy is extremely self-destructive. It's extremely self-saboteurs. It's a bunch of knives. It's a bunch of swords. It's a bunch of stingers, you know, so you have to transmute it. It is the classic story of the alchemist. The Scorpio will destroy itself if you leave it alone. So we got to be focused, especially going through this motherfucking conjunction. It's going to beat some people's asses. We're going to see some people get dragged in ways that it's going to be, ooh, like when Tony looked, when you had to look away when Tony killed Manono. It's a no-no. It's going to be certain things you can't look at. You can't look the gift horse in his mouth. But, you know, we'll be back. We have some empowerment updates. Shout out to everybody with the survey junkies. I pressed the button to cash out this weekend, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting like everybody else. You know, I'm waiting. I'm seeing it, you know, I'm seeing what this thing do. You know, because it was definitely a lick. And we have a lot more opportunities. We have a lot more licks. Like I said, Saturn and Pluto, it's a lick. It's a super lick. And we have to stay positive, because belief is a motherfucker. You could push yourself into any room. You could push yourself into any reality with a strong enough belief. So believe in the fact that you could get these bags online by doing the work that many people have already done to get millions of dollars. Shit, they ain't no different than you. You know what I'm talking about? And I promise you, I got my workers out there. I'm looking for all of the opportunities. We gonna try it, nigga. This is a dice game. We gonna roll. We gonna hit trips eventually. Head crack, nigga. I don't throw aces. You know what I'm talking about? My hand is hot. So we're going to keep throwing until we hit that head crack, that motherfucking 666. We're going to hit trips. Back to back to back to back. Head crack, head crack, head crack. And take the bank. Because that's what winners do. And that's the energy that this year represents. This is a head crack year. This is not a pity party year. This is not woe is me. This is not pity party. Sorry. This is not none of that. This is not victimhood consciousness. This ain't that, bro. So, with that being said, love and light to the believe in your ancestors. Believe that those earthquakes are the ancestors waking up. I wanted to point out the fact that it's no coincidence that in the Ring of Fire, but those are all colonial possessions. Those are all colonial possessions. All of those places, the Philippines, Mexico, they were all done. They all have atrocities done to them by the Europeans in America. You know what I'm saying? These are all places that, have a power, an energy, a force that has been asleep for a very long time because those places have been suppressed. And when you see rumblings, when you see explosions, that's that fire from underneath the surface rising up. That's that energy that's been bubbling underneath the surface. The great inevitable is rising up. It's coming on up. It's nothing to fear. It has nothing that you should fear. None of that. You should embrace it and know that big change is coming. And you be in there with your, you be in there to cash that money. You cash them checks and you be a part of that big change. So, yeah, no cap. Literally, no Capricorn. No cap. I ain't saying no cap. But with that being said, I appreciate everybody that riding with us tonight. Third Eye Thursdays. We'll see you on Third Eye on Thursday. Blue Pillar, he'll be here with Brother Ken Bripson. Tough Talk Tuesdays. Look out for Blue Pill with Tough Talk Tuesdays. Blue Pill has a lot of opportunities that he's rolling out. He got a lot of things that he's doing. So get with that brother, catch up with Blue, because Blue got some things that he's doing. So you should know. And with that, I'm going to end you on his verse.
I'm on the last test, final answer and my last guess. Wonder what I gotta pass next. I'm on my last quest, so much harder than my last track. Math less, I cannot last. And Reaper got my address. On my last cent, cash spent from a check I don't even have yet from my last rent. Swear that shit has got me mad stressed. I inherited my dad's debt, never got to hear his last breath. And the only reason I ain't passed yet, I'm the first ever in the last list. Like a practice, like a practice. I'm a splash in a and I raise seas to. If I die now, I'm coming back. Cause they dad missing, but they cash dripping, cause they royalty. So they brag different. Ain't no ass kissing, never had feelings. Seen a white victim in a black witness. Mac ripping on my last mission. Yak sipping. Missing, he was slipping. Smack hit him, now he act different. Apparition, the bad vision, the maggot chip him and crash the system. Uncle Tom, cause you that whittling. Fuck the law, I'm going back to living. Astral prisms of black religions, activism to conversations, sacrilegious, the pulse of Satan. Black magicians, Babylon erasing. Raise our hands till God be praising. Hustling, the marathon be racing. Nipsey at the finish line, he waiting. What would I do with my last breath? Would I yell? Would I cry? Would I laugh? Cause I'm glad that I'm past that mess. Till I pass, never felt that blessed. Even bad breath when you living is better than good breath. When you lack flesh, got a glass chest that I cracked and my lost breath hasn't made it back yet. I'm on my last breath, walking the last step. I'm on the last test, final answer and my last guess. Wonder what I gotta pass next. I'm on my last quest, so much harder than my last track. Math less, hope I can outlast death. Grim Reaper got my address, down on my last cent. Cash spent from a check I don't even have yet from my last rent. Swear that shit has got me mad stressed. I inherited my dad's debt, never got to hear his last breath. And the only reason I ain't passed yet, I'm the first ever and the last left.
Check us out, y'all.